Go back to our reporters. Maria is also there. Maria, with Draupadi Murmu, it was straight up, it was historic. The nomination of the first tribal woman to become the president of India. In Mr. Dhankar's case, what is the political calculation behind his choice?
Well, Zaka, I think the BJP also realizes that in the upper house soon, the primary opposition party in terms of numbers will be the Trinamool Congress. And given the manner in which the governor and the chief minister has had their equation, and also it is being sensed certainly that he played an important role in positioning and the views of the centre, or upheld the constitution the manner in which he did, he will be able to understand the way the TMC will be functioning. But I think the bigger question now is, will Mamata Banerjee be opposing her candidature? What we are being told by top sources in the party is that Governor Dhankar, of course, has had run-ins with the chief minister. It's very clear how it has played out in the last few years since 2019, that he took the governor's office, became the governor in Bengal. But he's also someone who understands how TMC functions, how the state government has operated. So has there been some kind of understanding that has been reached between the BJP and Mamata Banerjee? Because there was an important meeting, what sources say, that has taken place in Darjeeling as well. So Mamata Banerjee, what we are being told, Zaka, will be holding a meeting with the MPs of the party over of course, the stand that the party will be taking in the upcoming monsoon session that begins from 18th, but also there will be a call that will be taken on the vice presidential polls. So the candidacy of Jagdeep Dhankar is a googly, and I think it's less about symbolism but more about political calculations, understanding fully well that the dynamics in the upper house is going to change completely in the next few months.
Arun Dhanta is also there on the Smita Prakash, editor ANI, is now joining us. Smita, how would you characterize the selection of Jagdeep Dhankar as the NDA's nominee or the choice for vice president? Surprising?
Yes. Well, some people had guessed it as much. I think there were some 20 names which were everybody was guessing. But then, everybody's seen how the Modi government acts on these, people who you think are absolute sure shots get struck out, and there's always a surprise element in who they appoint. And quite clearly, as Maria was saying, that this is a political decision. It's a very strong political message, and especially I think if I was to be unkind, I would say that a lot of trolling will happen on social media with regard to Mamata Banerjee, who's made her displeasure pretty clear about the governor, the honorable governor. And now he will be sitting in Rajya Sabha, and I wonder what it will mean for people from her party, who in fact one person even called him a clown. So he will be sitting there while the chair will be Mr. Dhankar. So interesting what is going to happen. And I wonder who's going to go as governor to West Bengal. Yeah, that will be interesting to see, because again, it's a politically very sensitive position with regard to the equation between Mamata and the BJP.
No, Mamata Banerjee and Governor Dhankar have had frequent run-ins, public run-ins as well. But do you think this also puts Mamata Banerjee in a bit of a tough position? Because can she be seen publicly opposing his candidature? I mean, we've seen in the past, for example, when Ramnath Kovind's name was announced, Nitish Kumar, despite not being in the NDA at that time, chose to break ranks and support Mr. Kovind. We've seen that with JMM also, because in Draupadi Murmu's case. Will Mamata, not be able to back Mr. Dhankar?
There's no way that she will. I mean, I'm presuming she's a different cup of tea as compared to Nitish Kumar. I mean, look, Mamata, to give her credit, she has backed Pranab Mukherjee in the past. And there's occasions, but it's been so acrimonious relationship with Jagdish Dhankar. So I doubt she lend her support to his candidature. She's certainly going to oppose that. And I don't think many in the opposition parties will have that kind of a, tilt towards Mr. Dhankar like they had towards Draupadi Murmu. He's quite obviously a very strong political figure, even though Draupadi Murmu is also from the BJP, but still he's kind of, is more right, I would say, So I doubt whether Mamata Banerjee will support his candidature. But yes, it is going to be very interesting a few years now.
Let me ask Maria also, the fact that in Ms. Murmu's case, you have a series of opposition parties from Shiv Sena, TDP, of course, JMM, all breaking ranks with the opposition and deciding to support her. And you can say, it's a historic election, the first tribal woman to become president of India, so that's understandable. But in Mr. Dhankar's case, do you see a lot of opposition parties breaking ranks and supporting his candidature?
I'll just add a bit to what Smita said, Azaka, and it's interesting what Mamata Banerjee had to say when the candidacy of Draupadi Murmu was announced, that had she known about it, perhaps she would have reacted differently. That part unhone pehle nahi bataya was her words famously, because she understands that it's a bit very, very difficult for her. Yashwant Sinha is a former BJP leader. Let's be very clear. For all those who have been talking about, the evil philosophy behind the idea behind Draupadi Murmu, how can they not associate the same with Yashwant Sinha? And Mamata Banerjee herself projects herself as a woman leader. How do you oppose the first tribal woman to be the president? I think she, in this particular case, she understands that because the opposition has not announced a vice presidential candidate, and again, the numbers in both the houses are clearly in favor of the BJP or the NDA's nominee, will Mamata Banerjee be again opposing just for the sake of opposition? And will she be really standing with the Congress party? Because if she has made her displeasure known very clearly on the issue of Yashwant Sinha, and only had the BJP announced the candidature of Draupadi Murmu earlier, she could have done a rethink. Then does she have that option right now? Yes, she does. And Azaka, we are only told now by the TMC sources is that there is an official press release that has come that there will be a discussion. So because there has been a reach out that has happened by the BJP towards Mamata Banerjee in the last 24 hours with regards to Jagdeep Dhankar's candidature. So will there be a surprise? Will Mamata Banerjee not stand with the Congress just for opposing it, because she understands fully well that the numbers are not with the Congress or any opposition candidate?
No, so Smita, this again puts, like I said, the opposition in a bit of a bind, because they can't be seen as publicly backing Mr. Dhankar, because Mr. Dhankar has taken very, very acrimonious positions, if I may, especially vis-a-vis Mamata Banerjee. But also at the same time, it's not a historic candidature like that of Draupadi Murmu. So who do you think the opposition could likely field if they were to field a candidate to take on Mr. Dhankar?
It's difficult, right? Because the numbers are not with them. But I think there will be a lot of consultation now, because they have to come up with a candidate who seems plausible to win, because Yashwant Sinha really stands no chance opposite Draupadi Murmu. So, who they will pick is anybody's guess, but I think Sharad Pawar and Sonia Gandhi will have some consultations. On the one hand, I would think that Mamata should be glad that, she will see the back of Mr. Dhankar from the stage. She'll have a little more freedom when he's gone. And the daily squabbles, battles that she's been having with the governor house will end. So she should be happy that he leaves. But it goes, one wonders who will replace him. That's why I said it's very important to see who will replace Mr. Dhankar in West Bengal. But more importantly, I think this is a signal that the BJP or the NDA now has political governors. They're not going to be like the erstwhile image of what a governor used to be, which was ceremonial and pomp and pageantry. And, this is going to be more than that. This is going to be not just being political at the time of something happening like a trust vote or something major. It's going to be something which is going to be a politically active governor all through and through. Because that's what Mr. Dhankar has been, literally every week, going to the universities, going to panchayat level, getting involved with everything, putting in something like what a lieutenant governor in Delhi is.
I want to go back